Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're diving deep into something that really sits at the core of our relationships, our frustrations, and even our happiness. We're talking about expectations, and there's a surprising truth about them that might just change how you see everything.
You know that feeling, right? Where you're trying so hard to connect with someone, but it feels like you're just constantly missing each other. You say one thing, they hear something totally different. You have a simple, reasonable expectation, and somehow it blows up into a huge argument. It is so frustrating, and it happens to all of us. And as we're about to find out, there's a really profound reason why.
All right, so let's get right into it. First up, we're going to explore what we can call the expectation trap. This is really the fundamental conflict that trips us up again and again.
According to the mystic Sadhguru, pretty much all of our suffering boils down to this one simple statement. That's it. It's the gap, right? The gap between the reality of what is happening and that little movie playing in our heads of how things should be happening. And when those two don't line up, that's when we feel misery. It's actually that simple.
And this right here, this exposes a huge, flawed belief that most of us carry around without even realizing it. We think that for there to be harmony, for us to get along, we have to be the same. We expect our partners, our kids, our friends to think like us, to react like us, to want the same things. But the reality? The cold, hard truth is that every single one of us is operating from a completely unique, totally different internal program.
So, what exactly is this internal programming? Well, probably the best way to wrap your head around it is with this really powerful metaphor. Let's call them our inner recordings.
Spiritual teacher B.K. Shivani talks about this concept of sanskars. So I want you to imagine your soul as kind of like a hard drive or an old school CD. And over thousands and thousands of years, across countless lifetimes and experiences, unique tracks have been recorded onto it. These aren't just from your childhood, okay? These are ancient, they're deep, and they pretty much dictate everything about how you think, feel, and act.
And this is precisely where we get into trouble. We meet someone new, maybe it's a new partner or even when we have a child, and we make this massive incorrect assumption. We think we've just been handed a blank CD and we can start recording our own songs, our beliefs, our values, right onto their disc.
But here's the reality check from BK Shivani, and it's a big one. That CD, it was never blank. The person who walked into your life, your spouse, your child, your friend, they arrived with a disc that was already packed to the brim with their own recordings.
And this just perfectly illustrates the result, doesn't it? Because all our recordings are different, our definitions for literally everything are different. So let's say you have a meeting at 9:30. For you, being on time might mean you got to be there at 9:15. For your friend, it might mean walking in at 9:30 on the dot. And for someone else, hey, arriving at 9:45 is totally fine. And here's the thing, each person is convinced that they are the one who's right, because that's the track playing on their CD. It's the same for honesty, for cleanliness, for everything.
And this is the crucial point. This is where it all goes sideways. We don't just notice that their programming is different, we immediately judge it. We don't say, oh, that's interesting, your definition of punctuality is different than mine. No, we say, you're late, you're disrespectful, you're wrong. And that judgment, that's the spark that just ignites the whole conflict.
So let's dig a little deeper. What's the psychological engine that's driving all of these judgments? What is it inside of us that's so insistent that our way is the only right way?
Well, as the speaker Gaur Gopal Das put it so simply, the source is the most selfish word in the entire dictionary, I. It's our ego. Everything, and I mean everything, revolves around the I.
The I is just, it's constantly making demands. It's like a non-stop radio broadcast of expectations. It's always saying, the world needs to conform to my opinions, my desires, my way of doing things. And when other people, with their own fully loaded CDs, fail to meet those demands, the I gets hurt, it gets frustrated, and it gets angry.
So, okay, we've got a situation where every single person has a totally different set of inner recordings, and at the same time, our egos are screaming that everyone else's recordings have to match ours. I mean, it sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? Constant conflict. So, how do we find any peace in all this? The solution, it turns out, is in a really fundamental shift of perspective.
So here we have the two basic paths we can choose to walk. There's the I life, which is all about getting. You're just waiting for other people to fulfill your expectations, which basically means your happiness is completely dependent on them. Good luck with that. But then there's the you life, and that's all about giving. Look, you can't control whether or not you receive love, but you can always control whether you give it. And that one simple shift puts you right back in the driver's seat of your own happiness.
And that brings us to what is, without a doubt, the foundational first step. Sadhguru really emphasizes this. Before you do anything else, you have to take 100% responsibility for your own inner world. Your joy, your peace, your misery, that's your business, and your business alone. Once you can get to a place where your inner world is stable and pleasant by your own choice, your entire relationship with the outside world just completely transforms.
But wait a minute. Does all this mean we should just try to become emotionless robots who have zero expectations about anything? I mean, that doesn't really feel human, does it? So let's explore this really crucial final insight, which brings us to the path of acceptance.
Yeah, this is the question that naturally pops up, right? If expectations are the source of so much misery, then shouldn't the goal be to just get rid of them completely?
And here is the brilliant, mind-bending paradox from speakers Sandeep Maheshwari. The moment you decide, my goal is to have no expectations, guess what? You've just created the biggest, most unrealistic expectation of them all. You're just setting yourself up to fail, and you're starting a whole new war inside your own head.
This analogy makes it crystal clear. Having expectations is just a natural function of being a human with a mind, just like getting sick is a natural possibility for a human with a body. You don't scream at yourself for catching a cold, right? You just accept it and you deal with it. The key isn't to fight your expectations, it's to simply accept that they're going to pop up.
Okay, so let's tie all of this wisdom together into a clear path forward. So, number 1, start seeing other people for who they really are, souls with their own unique ancient recordings. Number 2, make your inner well-being your job and nobody else's. Number 3, actively shift your focus from what can I get to what can I give. And finally, number 4, stop fighting the fact that you have expectations. Just accept that they're there. And in that acceptance, the struggle just dissolves.
And so, that's the final thought I want to leave you with. Just for today, think about one expectation that's been causing you some stress or frustration. What would happen if, instead of fighting it or getting angry that it's not being met, you just acknowledged it, if you just accepted its presence and let go of the fight? Because right there, that is where real peace begins.